Hi, guys. All right, so I'm in Cleveland still. Things are going pretty well. I just wanted to check in with you and thank you guys for sending emails to me, asking me those great questions. That's fantastic. Keep them coming. You have specific questions and you can't help each other out or whatever, send me an email, let me know, okay? So you have worked through step 4 at this point. You've watched several videos, and now Mr. Treader is going to give you step 5 and 6, and then moving forward, step 7 and 8. 5 and 6 are planning and organization. Remember, you're keeping with the same class that you've been working on this entire time for this project. And so you're going to put that on the first line. I was looking over some of your other sheets, and I want to stress to you guys that some of you might be obsessing about your grades just a little too much to be healthy, okay? So while I'm thrilled you want to get a 100 in whatever class, if you got a 97 last quarter, that's fantastic too, okay? So while I do want you to go through the steps, I do want you to practice these strategies, and I do want you to put in that work, I do not want you to obsess about getting a 100, all right? So a big part of learning and trying new things is not being super successful at times. That's how we learn what works for us and what doesn't. And this is a great opportunity for you to try new things and to give it a try and see what works. Many of you have good grades across the board, typically anyway. So that's great. But again, it's about building up all these strategies that you'll be able to use in the future as well. So I just want to say that again, please breathe. Breathing is essential to life. And don't overstress. Okay, yes, you have to pass all of your classes. That is something that we absolutely are aiming for. Yes, we want to make sure we're maintaining our good grades, but we definitely do not want to overstress our brains and our well-being and make ourselves ill because we're trying to bring that 95 up to a 100. I think someone even said they wanted 101. Numerically, that's not possible. Percentages, 100% is a whole. Okay, you can't get a 101. So that's just how it works. All right, so step 5 and 6 is planning and organization. Now, my sheet might be a little confusing to you, so that's why I want to talk you through it a little bit, and I'm sure Mr. Treader can help you out a bit as well. Don't forget to use each other as good resources. So what I want you to think about is for this class, not this class, the class you have chosen for this project, what assignments, quizzes, tests, projects, writings, whatever, what do you have to have accomplished before you go on break next week? Okay. We can't get too excited about break without finishing our responsibilities. So in my example, I wrote down, hey, I have a project I need to write a paragraph for. I have an assignment. I have to finish my study guide. And I have a test on December something. And the topic of that test is something. Okay. So that's my example. So then I said, yours. There's a little space there for you. Okay. What do you have to do? Is it science or math or English or Spanish or whatever? And if you're unsure, who can you ask? Okay, so I hope you're saying, well, I can ask my friend who actually writes in his agenda, or ask the class in general. Could you ask your teacher? Yes, you can. You should be talking to your teachers. You should be asking good questions because they're the ones that can help you the most, okay? But you need to know what you have due before break so that way you won't overstress and you will get things accomplished so you can go on break and feel good about what you've done. So then the next thing I've asked you is there anything you have to do over break for this class? Some classes, like maybe English, maybe you have to read a chapter before you come back. I'm not saying you do. I don't know what Mrs. Antonor has planned. But there will be times, if not this break, but in the future, where you will have expectations that you will have to do work while you're on break. That keeps our brains going and thinking about the material so we don't come back in January and be like, well, I don't know how to plot a graph or whatever. Like you have to practice your skills, okay? So that is why teachers sometimes are mean and give you work to do over break. It's actually to help you not struggle when you get back. So the next question is there anything you could do to help yourself over break? So maybe it's, I'm going to bring home my social studies because I want to make sure that I review, because I know we're going to have a midterm coming up in 5 weeks after we get back. Did you know you have midterms coming up? Okay, so it's a good opportunity to keep up with your skills, study, whatever. Next, what will success look like for each of the tasks you wrote down that you have due before break? Now, what is success? Well, success is reaching a goal, right? But for those tasks, how will you know you've achieved it? What if it's just, well, I'm going to study? How do you know you've achieved it? Well, maybe I'm going to get a good grade on my test. That's going to be success for me. Maybe it has other consequences. Perhaps I really want to go on a ski trip in January, but mom and dad said, hey, you can't go if you don't have at least a B in this class. What does success look like for you? What is your motivation to do this? And don't just tell me, Mrs. Wessel, you're making me do a project. That's not motivation enough. There should be something else, like feeling good about yourself, building on your strategies. Think about it a little bit. So then what I want you to do on the back side of that page, if this is printed front to back, is to write yourself a schedule. Very similar to like we did in the beginning of this class, where you're going to plan out. On Monday, I'm going to do this at this time. On Tuesday, we have a test, period, whatever. And you're going to map it all out. Okay, that's the planning and organization. That way it's in front of you, it's clear, it's organized, and you know what you have to do and when you should be doing it. Now, if you don't want to do it on this paper, that's okay. If you prefer to do it in your agenda, who's still using their agendas? Okay. So if you're using your agenda and you want to do it there, fantastic. Keep it simple. Just write on the sheet in agenda and I will check it. I will check it. Just don't lose your agenda. And the final piece for step 5 and 6 is to list at least 2 strategies that we've discussed either in this class or in the class that you're focusing on, and why you will use these strategies specifically and how that'll work for this class. Okay, so that's your planning and organization. Now, I want you to take your time working this out. Think about your choices and your answers, and remember to be specific. SMART goals. Being specific matters. If we just say, I want to do well, I'm going to study more, I need to focus more. Well, what does that look like? What does it mean to study more? Is that a time? Is that a different way of studying? Is that a different partner to study with? Is that asking for help? Be specific. If you have any questions that can't be answered in the classroom, then send me an email and I will do my best to help you out from a distance. I will be uploading some grades soon, so keep an eye out for that. And I will talk to you all soon. Bye now.